So Al always used to say that we were a peculiar people, segula, a special treasure. And it's interesting because this last Shavuot, young guy came up to me and handed me the shirt. It's Exodus 19, verse 5. And that's the passage of scripture where it says, "Therefore, if you will indeed obey my voice and keep my covenant, then you shall be a special treasure to me above all people. For all the earth is mine. And you shall be a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words which you shall speak to the children of Israel." And, I think back to the amount of time that I've known Al. I've known Al since I was about 13 years old. We had just moved back just before my 13th birthday to Michigan from Colorado, where I had grown up. I was born here in Michigan. And Al and Jeannie became fast friends with my parents, my mom's best friend. And as I think about it now and look back on all the times that I've had together with them, Al and Jeannie have been like a second set of parents to me. And I'm sorry that I can't be there with you today in person to share some of these things. And this is probably about the 10th or 12th time I've tried to record this. And hopefully I'll be able to get through it now. But he saw things in other people that they themselves didn't see. A lot of people, including myself, you see your shortcomings and your faults, and you don't see that there's a special treasure in you. And when I was 14, Al gave me my first guitar. It was a hollow body Epiphone rhythm and blues guitar and an amp. And Al had lost his finger on his left hand in an oil rig when he was in Texas. And he told me how he used to play music and he was going somewhere. And he lost that finger, and that just kind of cut things short. So he taught me a few chords on the guitar, and he encouraged me. And I never thought I was going to be able to play the guitar. But I kept working at it, and I can play the guitar now. I'm 44. It took a while, but he instilled something around me, in me, about striving for goodness, for righteousness, for holiness. When I was 16 years old, my father left our family, left our church, and there was a big void in our family and my mom. And I remember being over to Al and Jeannie's and them comforting us and just letting us be there, my mother and my sister and I. And there's so many things I could share with you, so many times that they just reached out to us and were a family to us. Al took me to work with him when I was in my late teens, taught me exterior construction work, would always connect things in with the scripture. My parents divorced when I was 17, and Al was that father figure in my life when my dad was gone. And then in my late teens, we moved out, and we were just a couple houses down from them. And we would go down there and spend a lot of time with them. After I got married, they still continued to be in our lives. When my wife was pregnant for my daughter, Jeannie named the little baby inside Little Wilhelmina Lump Lump. And they doted over us. Always encouraged us that we could do more. When I started questioning some things that I'd been taught in my upbringing, we started coming out and doing fellowship with Al and Jeannie. There had been a big split in my church when I was 19, and so we were kind of divided from Al and Jeannie for a little while. I kind of fell into the world for a period of time, but Al was always there, and always there to encourage you, always there to point you towards the kingdom, to remind you that you were a special treasure. And my wife called them believer magnets. Everywhere that they went, it just seemed like people were drawn to them. And this is one of Al's hats. And that was his life. His life was devoted to Yah. Not always, not when he started out in life, but he got that hook in his mouth, and he was drawn, and he gave it all he had. I remember him telling me after he'd fallen off a roof, he got up on the roof one too many times, And he fell off and he was all broken up. He was in a full body cast, and all he could do was just move his hand. And he said he never got closer to Yah than during those times, because he couldn't go anywhere, and he was reminded about how short our life is and how things can be taken away. And it really was a huge change in his life, which made him grow more than even where he was before that. And so when I was in my late 20s, I started really questioning things, some of the things that I had been brought up with, and we started attending with Alan Genie out in the park, and it was amazing the way that he would bring the scriptures alive, and he just keep reminding us we're that segula, that special treasure. And when they decided to move to Oklahoma, left a pretty huge void in our life. And Al came up to me and asked me if I would start serving the few people that were gathering together there. And I thought, not me. I'm not anything. There's nothing that I can do, nothing that I can offer. I always saw my shortcomings, my faults, my inabilities, my inadequacies. But Al saw a treasure. And that's how I think he saw a lot of people. He saw the good in them, the things that they could do, the things that they could be, and then just encouraged them in that direction. And so they left, and here I was, and just in my 30s, and didn't feel confident, didn't feel adequate, but he would always call and encourage me to continue to serve, encourage me, even when I would call him and tell him, Al, I really messed up this time. I really said this, and this was stupid, and what am I going to do? And how can I keep serving? How can I keep doing this? I'm not the right guy. You picked the wrong guy to continue to serve. And I think a lot of people feel that way. A lot of people feel that it's just their shortcomings and their inadequacies and their faults and their sins. But Al was always somebody that would encourage you through those things. They would tell you that you're a special treasure. And some other stories I could share with you, but I think that's probably the things that made the biggest impact on my life, was I didn't feel that I could, and he would encourage me that I could. And I think about what it says about Messiah, that we can do all things through Messiah who strengthens us. Doesn't mean we're not going to mess up. Doesn't mean we're not going to make mistakes or blunders or say things that we wish we could take back or do things that we wish we hadn't done. What it means is through Messiah we can overcome those things. And Al was a big part of my life in helping me in that. And that's something I'm really going to miss. And so I hope that everyone that hears this takes up that mantle and reaches out into other people's lives and sees the treasures that are in them, like Al saw the treasures in me that I still don't see. But I know that through Messiah, we can do all those things, and I'm encouraged to keep getting up and keep going on and keep encouraging others as best as I can, because that's what Al always did, and I see that as a reflection of who Messiah was. Again, I'm sorry we can't be there with you, and I hope that there's many other things that people choose to share, testimonies of things that he has done in their life. And he would even tell you, Yah, pity the poor fool. And he would always say that of himself. So yeah, he would encourage others, but he saw himself as a fool. But he was a fool for Messiah, and he would get up and he would continue to encourage other people, to be patient with other people, even when he didn't agree with them, even when he didn't see eye to eye with them. He would still allow that dialogue to continue, encourage him towards the kingdom. May God bless and keep you.